on our internal brand, we had CPA of 1.5K after 4 to 5 minutes. So like, okay, what to do now?
You cannot force Google. On Meta, no one is telling the customer, look, it's a lie. The good and the bad of Google is that Google is instead very careful with that.
Google, you can get cold customers and they're very doable if done right, but you need to.
They think if I do that, people are not going to buy. If your product is, people kept buying regularly, and then boom, Black Friday.
If you prepare, you get rewarded.
That's the main takeaway of this call. Google and Facebook are different, but consumer behavior is definitely not. How do you guys battle that transition when the sale is over?
It's very important to make sure that you don't burn the gains you had. So you want to...
Let's wrap up BFCM. It's Wednesday the 3rd now. Morning for Marin. It is evening for me, and it's morning for Filippo. Wednesday the 3rd. So BFCM 2025 is now wrapped up. Everyone watching the video, hope you guys fucking crushed it. We're just going to dive into what we saw during BFCM on both the Meta side and the Google side. There's obviously uplift on the last, 2 days of BFCM, which both Marin saw and obviously we did as well, which is unexpected, but it was good to see. Also the Shopify outage. I'm sure everyone knows about that. So boys, how much do we spend in November, eh? I think Marin, you were 25 mil, weren't you? 25, 26 mil?
25 in the whole month of November and 5 for BFCM weekend.
Yeah, 5-6 mil BFCM weekend. We were 22 mil on November, or 21.9, 21.8. And yeah, we ended up spending what?
5.2. And the 4 dice here.
Crazy numbers. Like every year it gets bigger, and I'm like every year I'm more surprised because like how is this happening?
Exactly. And we were up I think with 2 point something mil or some shit from last year. 2.1, yeah. But even your end, bro, 25 mil. That's crazy. 1 month, especially on the Meta side. So I think we can start off, Marin, on the Meta side. What's some shit you saw this year work versus last year? What's some like the biggest things that came out? To you this year?
Yeah, so maybe I can touch base like on the pacing first. So the whole November was like pretty slow, like honestly slower than previous year. It just felt like people are not into buying mode, or like brands are starting sooner, etc. And people don't care. Then just the spike on Friday was way bigger than what it was usually. So that was like a pleasant surprise. We were all counting on that Friday to kind of like, bring that revenue home. And then Saturday, usually there's a kind of like slight drop, 30 to 40%. But this year there was like a way lower drop. So again, pleasant surprise. Then on Sunday, it started bad because Facebook had some pacing issues. So some of the budgets were like 70% of the budget spent by like 5 a.m. And then we're like, okay, what to do now? Like, should we pull back the budget? Because on our internal brand, we had like CPA of 1.5K after 4 to 5 minutes. It spent 5K like in 4 to 5 minutes. So like, okay, what to do now?
Because you're probably trying to reach out to Meta for refunds. At the same time, you're thinking, fuck, we're just going to keep spending. Like,
exactly. At the end, it picked up. And then the Monday, usually as every Monday, it's like a working day. It's not a holiday, And then like it started slow, but it really picked up. So I would say recap is Friday was amazingly well. Saturday better than expected. Sunday, it was a kind of like a mixed bag. And then the Monday was again, really, really good. Not sure what you guys saw on Google.
I'm very aligned with what you're saying. We saw same thing like Friday was really a huge peak, more than usual. And on Google, I think here it's nice to have you, talking about that. This year, we noticed that the importance of a concept that usually is not there in Google Ads, which is like surf scaling. Because, like really Friday looked like the day that people were waiting, people was waiting for that to feel like, justified to buy. Even if the offer from a client was exactly the same. Maybe they launched already, 1 week before Black Friday, kept the offers the same for the, 20 days or something. Like the day, Black Friday, especially in US, like the day that people are like, okay, if today I spend $300, no one can tell me anything because, hey, it's Black Friday. So that's really, really important. And in fact, we spend those, 5+ millions in those 4 days, but the ROAS you had on Black Friday is unmatched in the other days. So that's for sure a big takeaway. And it also announced the importance that usually on Google is not that much to third-party attribution tools to rely on, because in Google data are very delayed in platform. So you cannot do much. You cannot do surf scaling or anything really. In platform, I don't even include today ever when I look at data. But that day, when clients had good triple whale accounts, reliable Northbeam accounts, any this type of tools was really, really useful. Because we were able to scale consistently align with the client, and we got some very, very good scales in this way.
The biggest ROAS was Black Friday for us. We didn't spend the most on Black Friday. Like we did 1.2 across the board US on the 28th, but ROAS was 6.1. But yeah, we had the same thing, bro. We had a lot of people like it looked like waiting. A week out, we had like a couple of clients ask, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" And yeah, a lot of people were just waiting because they knew Black Friday was coming. We actually did a lot of one of our supplement brands did 1.7. I think it was the 13th, 20th, the first day of their sale.
Oh, wow.
And we did like a lead gen tactic where the lead gen side, we create a landing page and also leverage the emails that they have within the account. And the day before, so we was ran like a lot of videos, a lot of demand gen to create demand for the sale. So they were realizing the sale was coming on, putting your email, blah blah blah. And then the day before the sale, we paused all that lead gen stuff and all those videos. And then we loaded up those Black Friday asset groups and campaigns featuring products of the actual sale event. And then so for 4 hours, it was 50% off. And then after that, we switched everything to 40% off and then push budgets. 1.7 from Google or on 1.7 mil Australian on November the 13th. So that was a good like tactic that we did. We did it for a couple of clients where we did that demand to build the emails, to build the hype of the sale. It's like you do it on an email SMS marketing. You build the hype sometimes and, people buy. We did it on Google and it worked well this year, which was a interesting one.
I want to add a little thing very quickly. We noticed there. So sometimes people, a big thing, of course, we had the page dedicated for lead gen with demand generation, etc. But the client in that case was pretty bold and went on adding a very noticeable banner on the normal pages saying, hey, subscribe, the big offer of the year is coming, subscribe to make sure you get the VIP, because they had a VIP like just before, so they were sure they will get the product, they were not out of stock, so there was also practical reasons so that the discount would start just for them, Most of the times, e-commerce owners, and also, it's a legitimate doubt. They think like, oh, if I do that, people are not going to buy because they're going to just wait. Especially if your product is a consumable. I mean, for sure, if you're, like one off, but if it's a consumable, like in this case, actually, we noticed that people kept buying regularly. So the current performances were not affected. But while we were doing business as usual, ROAS, spend business as usual, we were collecting on the side for free, let's say, a lot of leads. And then boom, Black Friday. So that was a good case, especially for, I think, LTV consumer repeatable purchases. Don't worry too much. You can be bold instead of, maybe I'm going to hide the offer because otherwise they're not going to buy. You can actually be bold about it. And maybe there's also a bit of word of mouth amplification effect.
Did you guys notice any specific offers that performed the best? I would say like from our side, it's mostly like obviously site-wide discount was like the easiest to implement, but it takes most of your margins. So we had a couple of clients that implemented bundles, either bundling the same stuff, let's say protein, 3-month protein or like protein, creatine, and I don't know, pre-workout. So bigger bundle. That way, even if you give a discount, your AOV is higher, so you're not taking up your margins. So I definitely saw that spike in AOV that offsetted higher CPMs on Facebook because like my CPMs were like double from Wednesday to Friday. Based on that, I'm paying more for the click. So I need to have obviously higher conversion rate, which is happening due to the Black Friday. But if you can add higher AOV, then like you're actually making more money.
On that one, I think that the differences between Meta and Google will still stay because I think there is a big difference of behavior there. And in fact, I had this in mind, like bundles and stuff work really well on Facebook where you can just communicate an offer. On Google, actually, it was like that. Bundles, not the greatest. The main thing, of course, when someone is searching for a product is a shopping carousel, If you have this type of bundles, the only thing you can do is adding these merchants and the promotions at the bottom. And especially if it's like free gifts, buy more, get a discount, but it's conditioned. So it's not just boom, this code is, you're not going to get any badge. People are going to see just the price of the item that is the same as it was before. Really not sexy, not great. So what we see is to try, of course, when it comes to Google, I mean, first of all, the good news is that Google, I think, is not as greedy as Facebook, as Meta, meaning that the CPCs are not doubling for Black Friday. So, Google probably knows that they cannot get away with that. Maybe it's that, people on Meta, that Black Friday just buy, I don't know, but Meta can get away, Google not. So CPCs are not that big of an impact as it is on Meta. But yeah, people, of course, when they search for the product in that period, they want to see the discount on shopping app.
Bang, straight to the website, and it's normally or ideally it's already that price, and like it's already that price in the cart. Fucking see you later, or it's that price and you have to put in the code. Maybe they won't put the code and they get brain on them, they get away with it. Ideally, it's bang, click the ad, fucking bang, just straight in the basket with that price.
So you guys that did not maybe have like too much evergreen ads, like regular ads, but like on Facebook, half of the ads are like evergreen, and they've like often outperformed the ads that are offer focused because people, those are like proven ads. They have a lot of social proof. People click on them, they land on a website, there's an offer, and they end up buying. So I'm just curious, what's the situation in the split on Google side?
That's a meta, because of course meta, we're talking about, let's say, passive advertising, if you wish, meaning that you're showing out people that didn't read, which is comparable to then in Google demand gen, YouTube ads. But the big chunk, let's say for average, of course, in 2025, demand gen could be a different chapter, but the search and shopping part, of course, we're talking about that product. So the difference is in meta, you can talk about any, if you have the fake, year-round offer, like, 50% discount on website, all year is 50% discount. On meta, no one is telling the customer, look, it's a lie. The good and the bad of Google is that Google is instead very careful with that. If you have always the same discount, fake discount, you cannot force Google to show, actually it's a discount. Google knows, tracks the price on the page, is the same for the last 3 months, 2 months, whatever. You don't have anything. So Google is basically calling you out.
Yeah, you have to have history of the pricing. Or you can have the product on a different landing page that isn't live on the website on a cheaper price and then make it live and then you get the strike through. So there's ways.
That's the sauce we want. Any additional things that you guys notice that work best, some kind of like tips and tricks, something that like you just implement this time or like it's working but it's not really common knowledge?
The main things for BFCM is warm traffic is fucking saturated, so you need to set up the cold prior to BFCM, and the real ones fucking win from the cold. And also people are price shopping, so going after the competitors is a very good thing to do, especially hard. Like, don't be shy with budgets. But another one also, the CPMs on Meta do explode during BFCM, so demand gen becomes pretty cheap during BFCM if done right. YouTube and straight cold stuff, the client was spending like 15-16k a day on YouTube. Demand gen, if anyone wondering, is straight cold on the YouTube side. This is creating awareness. We saw those sort of CPMs fall during BFCM. They become sort of cheap breach, while Meta's CPMs are fucking nuts.
Is that mostly on shorts or like regular YouTube videos?
Depends on the client, because some client could be more advertorial style, 2-3 minute long, 10-20 minute long. Other ones could just be more just straight awareness, flexing the products, just a quick show. So it depends.
In terms of offers related to that merchant center promotions, they could be pretty cool. So that's the workaround. So you can do something at checkout, but it needs to be very effective. It needs to be without conditions. So like use this coupon code to get something off. Of course, it would hurt your margins badly, right? As you were mentioning. So what we are doing, with our structure, we actually have a separate campaigns for branded versus non-branded also on shopping. And we even have different technically item ID. So we have branded feeds for branded and non-branded for non-branded. So in that way, we can apply the promotions only to the non-branded stuff. So basically we can, talking with the client is like, okay, non-branded, new customers, can we afford to offer them a coupon? In that case, then Google, since there's no condition, is just translating it. It's sometimes right now is also doing the strike through pricing and also putting a little badge overlay on the product image. So that's a way if you don't want just to reduce the price of the product.
So it kind of like resembles like how with a different type of the ad you can like impact the performance. Let's say on Facebook side, we know that like images are pretty much going to do retargeting, so they're not going to do much prospecting, but we are cool with doing a bit more retargeting during this period because we want that sale. We were building the audience for a whole year to get that sale. So I definitely think it makes sense to give a discount or showcase a strike through price during this period. Obviously, like, do you guys then like removing that like on Tuesday or after that? What's the process? Because like I have a couple of clients that, like, let's say I have a clear example from yesterday. We were 30% up day over day in Shopify revenue, but the client is in EST time zone. So that's like first 3 hours were revenue from Monday evening on people that are on Pacific. So I told him like we need to pull back budgets. He said like no, let's leave the budget. Performance is great. The offer is still live. So like this is the only guy that did not listen to me. We ended up Shopify like -80. But like obviously you cannot replicate the performance on Tuesday from Monday, but like he thought like, hey, it started good, but it's not actually started good. It was performance from the previous day from Cyber Monday. So I'm just like wondering, how do you guys battle that transition when the sale is over?
As you were saying before, even if you keep the same offer, it's not going to perform the same. So it's actually very important to make sure that you don't burn the gains you had. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to have super shitty days after, right? So you want to, of course, you always look at year on year performances if you have those are so precious. But in general, I kind of, go back. Of course, most of clients would just rebrand their promotion, right? Like holiday, BFCM becomes holiday. That's a classic. But usually we just go down. And then, of course, those days, Tuesday, Wednesday, you really have to keep monitored, kind of what we were talking about before. Like those days, you have to be more on the live reporting. But yeah, we tend to be conservative because we really don't want to burn the gains. And yeah, the trends are clear. Like after Cyber Monday, people chill out unless, maybe we are talking about very, very gifting clients.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention. Is there anything specific that you guys are expecting this month? Honestly, from my side, like only gifting clients, they're like keeping the spend really high because they have like those 10 days, 15 days for the shipping cut off.
On the gifting side, 100%, because you're lining up for Christmas. But any clients in, let's say, the new me, like New Year, new me sort of space, so supplements, fucking clothing in certain countries, like in Australia, there's like the horse racing on and summer sports stuff, but the whole supplement space, like they mostly spend more in Q1, like January and December on because the intent's high for that stuff. Everyone gym membership, and then they only go twice in a year, and they think they're gonna put on all this muscle, all this fats. Go after that, takes the intent's high, So sometimes we're getting ready with landing pages already with the new year, new me style, and trying to get in front of those customers. For example, how to improve hair, like collagen, so you could do on about the benefits of collagen, like skin or brain power or whatever. But now it's more Q1, so you just go after you try and get in front of people searching for that new year, new me sort of vibe, how to lose power, how to, I don't know, put muscle on and stuff like that. And you can push supplements in a funnel, like a certain landing page. But yeah, those sort of clients, the spend doesn't drop or change too much to maybe subs, it would even increase. Other than that, yeah, you do see that big uplift on like sales period, and they drop spend a little bit now, like this week, and then they sort of recalibrate and see where they're at, and then it's like ramp back up for Christmas. But there's different offers that work for Christmas compared to BFCM too. Free gifts that we see work pretty well on the Christmas side. But yeah, the biggest thing was obviously making sure in the GMC, if your shipping times are like quick, mentioning that so they know they're going to get it before Christmas and shit like that, which you can do within GMC, and it shows up on the shopping ad, and then just strike through once again. But the thing is, you have to have the price for a set amount of time on a landing page to get that strike through. So it's all about like, you have to, like, we were prepping for BFCM months ago for clients and say similar to yourself, At
least from my experience, like the brands that did the best, like the brands that started planning this, like during the summer, a few months ago, because like there's a clear pattern. You know what the offer is, what the offer is converting, what type of the ads, for how long. We had the creatives ready. So like the brands that were the most prepared, that started preparing in advance, they did the best. At least that's my kind of like takeaway from this year.
We had brands, hey, let's actually change the offer to this, and that was like fucking Black Friday. Like tomorrow, Cyber Monday, let's actually change it to this. Or, hey, we're doing really well, let's increase it by this. Or we get the BFCM assets the week of, or they change their fucking mind. It doesn't help anyone. But yeah, you're right. The people that did the best was definitely the proactive people. If you prepare, you get rewarded. But also, the thing is, you don't want to lose your gains that you like, especially the profit, because everyone was like profit over revenue and stuff like that for sure. BFCM, like, I know it's like you gotta put balls to the wall sometimes too, especially with the meta. Like, you gotta kind of be ballsy because CPMs are rising, people are paying more, CPAs might rise and shit like that. It was a fun time, a fun year.
Is there one takeaway or like one tip that you saw that like this was a cool thing, or like you plan to maybe do it for some of the next promotion? Is there like something that you think is like worth sharing that we did not mention, maybe from the technical standpoint or like from the ad account structure, or something that you feel is like super valuable?
This one is tricky, of course, a few things together. There's not one magic button on Google. But I would say what we saw this year, we were talking at the beginning, like the importance of really being able to push spend on Black Friday, and Google is more static. Also historically, people are more like, don't worry, Google is gonna spend, Google knows. But what we've seen is that if you don't actively make sure, either playing with your target ROAS, having campaign on maximize, like for example demand gen, that's fundamental, we can talk about that you can scale more quickly, then you lose money, you leave money on the table. The other thing is really to make sure that you communicate the offer, as we're talking about shopping, making sure that you have a listing that is sexy. And then another small one that maybe we could also, I don't know if Meta could make sense, but again, on Meta you're a little bit more free with the offer because you communicate whatever you want to communicate. You're more freedom. On YouTube, you were mentioning shorts, so of course to retarget and general to have those channels are very important. Shorts in particular have a very fast skip rate, right? Like you lose most of the people, like 90% on average, like 90%, 80, 85, the first 3, 4, 5 seconds. So for example, when it comes to Black Friday, people might be familiar with your brand because of course you want a lot of warm audiences, but you might just place the offer at second number 15 or the end of the short. No one is getting there. So like to have an overlay in the short with the promo. So at least people are like, oh yeah, I know this brand. Now I don't care. Like, I don't want to watch it short, but okay, they have a special BFC promo is there. I noticed, I got the information. That's a practical tip. We had some A/B tests with creatives with this idea implemented, much better performances. So that's a small tip, let's say. And I'm curious also, I wanted to ask you, Marin, because from one side, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is a great moment to get new clients that were just, hyped up for shopping. But on the other side is a lot about whole audiences that were waiting for that day, no? So on your side, on Meta, for big clients you're managing, what did you see in terms of this percentage, new versus warm?
So definitely there was more, let's say, existing customers, even for the clients that we excluded customers. Because like Facebook knows like these are the people that are going to convert. It also depends whether client is okay us advertising to existing customers. I had some clients that are like, in supplements, they said like, I don't care if I can get a customer for $3, it's an existing customer. So I don't want to spend $1 to find him. I just want new customers. So then we were focusing on that. So it kind of like it's a niche and product related, but definitely you see that like from the new customers, way more went to the retargeting, because obviously you were building that audience for a whole year.
And what's on the Meta side? Sometimes on Q5 we test different angles and stuff like that because CPC is fucking much cheaper, so it's worth testing and take advantage of like Christmas to New Year's and stuff. That intent sort of reset just after BFCM. So what are you seeing on the Meta side? What's your holistic idea about Q5 in the new year?
So basically we are pushing now until the shipping cutoff date, which is like between 15th and 20th. Then like from that day to Christmas, it's shitty, like nobody buys. But then like on the 26th, as you said, like CPM go down, CPC go down, but conversion rate stays high. So that's the definitely period that you want to push. And then like that creates like a great entrance into Q1, especially for health, beauty, supplements, niches. I think like, although we are always mentioning like, hey, Google and Facebook are different, and they maybe are, but like consumer behavior is definitely not different. And we can see the same patterns. It's just executed in two different ways.
Q1, everyone's like hyped. Q4, Q5, let's fucking go. Q1, it's like, oh shit.
I have a client that like we are spending now more than what we are spending like for Black Friday, because they're like heavily gifting. So like December is better than November. But soon after the Christmas ends, I cannot spend 1K profitably, although I'm now spending 50K a day. So like it's just crazy. On the other side, you have like weight loss. Nobody cares about weight loss now. They're gonna care like in January.
Hit that Christmas pudding.
Yeah.
New year, new me.
You cannot beat the market.
What's the biggest sort of mistake you see on the Meta side? Obviously during BFCM would be fucking destroying your profits, but like after BFCM, Q5, going into Q1, what's the biggest mistakes you see? Maybe is it expectations? Is it
the expectation? Because people still think like, hey, we did a record day, like probably that will hold up. Like, no way, bro. Like, even if you have the same offer, there's no way that you can do even of that revenue. So it's just like, I don't know. I think the biggest problem is like people have certain expectations and they're like disappointed. If you're realistic, if you check like your last year data, like Filippo, what you mentioned, like you can see exact same trends in terms of like performance drop or a specific month or a specific day. Like most of my clients had the same drop between the Saturday and Sunday, in terms of the revenue. And like it's just there like last year. So like when you prepare, there's not much that can surprise.
Same on the Google side too.
That's the main takeaway of this call. Don't burn the gates that you got through scaling on BFCM.
Yeah, enjoy the profits. Buy some Christmas presents. So what's going into 2026 on the Meta side? What's the biggest thing? What's the biggest focus, do you reckon? And then I guess we can riff off like what we think the biggest thing in 2026 is for Google. Like you've got Andromeda.
It's kind of a buzzword because Andromeda is there like since Q4 last year. It's just like people started talking about it more and more, and it's a hot topic. Honestly, I did not change anything in the ad account. We just changed approach to the creatives, customer avatars, different angles, matching the landing page to the avatar, like what you guys mentioned to the angle. It's like, it gets you back to the basics of marketing. Not necessarily anything is changing in the ad account. The only thing that I noticed is like Facebook rather creative diversification more, not necessarily variation of the same creative, and not necessarily when you have a winner, then like you're going to change your hook, you're going to put a meme style banner, stuff like that, and then you get a new winner. That does not really work anymore. So Facebook really values more diverse content than before. That's at least on Facebook side what I'm seeing. What about you guys?
Big thing in 2025. I mean, on Google is a huge thing. 2025. I don't know how people realize that because not everyone is still understanding, but demand gen, it's a big game changer this year. Many brands dropped completely YouTube ads or in general image ads on Google because they were not performing previous, 2024 and previously. Many brands tried in the past, didn't work. This year, Google made huge changes. It's working much better. So I would identify 3 is format that really you should start pushing properly. Again, coming back to marketing basics, you mentioned that. That's so true. Marketing basics, not just account management. Here's YouTube in-stream, YouTube skippable ads in this case, great placement. Videos minutes long, minutes, not seconds, minutes, 3-4 minutes. In that account Jackson was showing spending 12, 13K or plus a day on YouTube skippable. Long videos, completely different game. In-stream, shorts, and then a format that people should really consider, Google Discover, which most people don't even know. Like, what's Google Discover? Is on mobile, you can scroll Google, the old Google News. That format, especially on older audiences, amazing. We're having some campaigns fully cold at 4.5 ROAS, new customers.
Oh, wow.
Crazy. But it's a completely different placement. And all of these three that can be run across demand gen, but demand gen allows you to separate clearly now. So you could have a demand gen for shorts, a demand for skippable, demand gen for discover. They have different nuances, like in terms of marketing, completely different user behavior. For skippable, so longer format, horizontals, shorts, and this discover. For example, the ad copy, very important on this discover because it kind of, again, was the old Google News. So people scroll for articles, So we see companies doing like, oh, buy this, buy that. The weaves, like people don't want to read that. That's annoying, but like, well, let's find out what the top 10 doctors recommend for fixing this. And then people are like, oh, interesting. Read. And you have this, of course, that means also having a funnel for that. So a page that kind of represents that angle. That's a huge thing that people should not sleep 100%. Also to start to already in 2026, start to build that top of funnel, that audience growth. And then when you have the big sales, it really helps to make a big number.
We've spoken about it so many times, but really dialing in on the top of funnel for Google. People just think it's fucking retargeting, it's just catching, like Marin's is cooking on Meta when it's retargeting shit. But there's more. It's like cold, demand gen, as you saw. That product that the scale 16, 70K a day, that's a one product store. People do not, there's 0% repeat purchase rate. So it's straight cold. There's so many landing page styles you can do. Get in front of people with issues and your product solves that issue, like hair thinning. And then why is my hair thinning? And your CTA could be collagen, something like that. And it can be an external domain. You can speak to your customers as well. For example, we spoke to a brand today and what they did was a survey to their customers. They sell cooling sheets and they would, as you do it, like going after those fucking hot sleepers and, sweaty sleepers and stuff. But they found out like 35% of them buy them for their dogs and cats and their pets. So now that's a whole different angle. So it's definitely worth surveying your customers as well, seeing why they're buying and shit, because then they could like give you new lander angles, new keyword groups, search intents, maybe more titles you can go after, or you can use the same product and do product duplication and add new attributes to the titles to go after more sort of audiences. So it just gives you that more personas. So even taking it back to old school, just fucking ripping a survey and asking questions for sure is worth it to get new personas. And that can even give you YouTube hooks and angles and shit like that. Other than that, I would say people really need to just fucking make sure they separate branded versus non-branded and make sure they understand what is each. And Google, you can get cold customers and it is very doable if done right, but you need to make sure that it's separated. And even if the brand owner doesn't know how it's separated or if it actually is separated, just learn, have spend a couple of hours on how to tell if it's actually separated or not, so you're not getting fucked over. Because we see inflated ad accounts all the time, especially during BFCM, because the intent is so high. Yeah. So that's why it's good to separate it and then go after competitors, because people typically just price hunt all the time, BFCM and shit like that. And that's when it comes down to the strike through and stuff.
Just give people their Christmas gift if they're interested, what they can get from you guys, like free audit.
Merry Christmas, free order from us. Me and Filippo will sit on the call with you and run and give you an hour of our time, and we'll run through your ad account, your questions. We're more than happy to chop it up with you, give you some advice.
We take our time. We go in depth.
Find us at echelon.io, 2 N's at the end, or you just search me, Jackson Blackledge, or you search Filippo Caroline. Marin, yourself, bro, where can they find you?
If you are spending on Facebook and you want to spend more, or you want to spend more profitably, just hit me up on Twitter and I can arrange an audit of your ad account and see if we have any opportunities to grow the account together.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys crushed it in Q5 and Q1. With that being said, we'll wrap this up. Appreciate your time, boys. Marin, Filippo.
Thank you.
Cheers.